You know how I'm convinced that Carrie is real? Because this is the third time I've tried recording this review, so she's probably out there somewhere crashing iMovie every time I try to get a chance to record. You're not going to ruin it, Carrie. You're not going to ruin this review! But it looks like you guys are watching the video, so seems that all is well. So without further ado, let's talk about this new version of Carrie. Carrie is a remake of the 1976 film directed by Brian De Palma, the guy who made Scarface and Mission Impossible, which itself is based on a novel by Stephen King. And you know it's a story from Stephen King when the setting is in the state of Maine. It follows young Carrie White, played here by Chloe Grace Moretz, a young girl who has a crazy Old Testament religious mother played by Julianne Moore, and a shitty life at high school. One day she has her period without knowing, and she thinks she's bleeding to death. The other girls make fun of her, but then she discovers she has telekinetic powers, and when anyone has a combination of telekinetic powers and a shitty high school life, you better just get out of the way. You better get out of their way fast. And don't even try to make fun of that person, because it's not going to end well for you. Now, I have never read the original book. I've never read any of Stephen King's work to begin with. And I've never seen the original film that came out in 1976. And it's important that I mention that I've never seen the original film because the UC Santa Cruz Film Club had a screening the Wednesday before this movie came out. I wanted to go to it, but I couldn't because I had an assignment that was due the next day. And, well, I had to make sure it was as good as possible. And I hate myself for not going to see it because this movie really made me question if that original story or the Brian De Palma film in general were good to begin with. This movie felt more like a shitty made-for-TV high school movie that you just find on the CW. It's just the character, there's just a lot of stuff that I just don't like. Maybe because I'm a senior in college, I'm not in high school anymore, but it just seemed like a bunch of stupid high school drama. The character of Chris Hergensen, especially, played by Portia Doubleday. Wow, that's an unusual last name. This character is such a bitch, and her reason to get revenge on Carrie for whatever nonsensical reason she claims Carrie did to her is just, it's really childish, and as you can tell from my confusion, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Plus, I didn't think the actress was very good to begin with. She just came off as whiny. Also, one thing, during the big climax of the movie, whenever Carrie used her telekinetic powers, I was never really that scared. I don't know why, but I was just imagining her being a Jedi or a Sith, because sometimes she would do chokes, like Darth Vader would, and I just kept imagining the Star Wars music playing as she was doing all these telekinetic or force stuff. I guess it's good that the original film predated Star Wars by a year, so people wouldn't think of her as a Jedi using the Force when watching that movie. Now, there were a few good things that I liked in this movie. It's not all shit. Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore do a good job in their parts with what they have. Julianne Moore really looks freaking crazy in this movie. And even though Chloe Grace Moretz starts out as emo throughout the first bit of the movie, or at least the first scene that she's in, I thought she did good. I thought she did a fine job. I also like Judy Greer as the gym teacher. Even though she isn't in it as much as I'd like her to be, I like her because she's the kind mother figure towards Carrie, the mother that she needs. And honestly, in my opinion, she's the only likable character in this movie. Not that everyone in this movie is unlikable, but there's nothing really for me to like about Carrie or dislike about Carrie. And then the character Chris, yeah, she's a bitch. So Judy Greer's character is really the only likable character in this movie, to me at least. So, I don't know. This felt very much like a studio movie. Kimberly Peirce is the director who made Boys Don't Cry. and it felt more like a studio movie, and she was just a director for hire. So I don't hate the movie. There was never a part of the movie that made me angry, just more bored or irritated. But I've heard a lot of good things about that original, and it makes me question, for this remake, why bother remake it? Again, there was never a moment that made me angry, but you're probably better off just watching the original movie to begin with, so just don't waste your money. Just go watch the original or read the book. You might be better off, but since I haven't read the book or watched the original, I'm a little scared of watching the original movie, but I will give it a shot. I'll let you guys know how I feel once I see it. So that's my review for the 2013 remake of Carrie. Leave a comment if you've seen the movie, subscribe to my channel for more reviews in the future. Check out my other channel, AlexG8462. Follow me on Twitter at AlexG8462. Like me on Facebook, /The Cinemas with Mr. Robinson. Share me with your friends and tell them about me. This has been The Cinemas with Mr. Robinson. And remember, know it before you see it. I'll see you guys later.